my goodness, Darren Hardy. I don't know if you know Darren Hardy or not, but we're going to talk about him quite a bit today. He's gonna make a little guest appearance on today's episode of GM3X. We're also going to try to discover a little bit about why it's so warm all of a sudden in the middle of December. We're going to talk about ice cream. I don't know if any of you are a fan of ice cream. And we're also going to dive in just a little bit to a moment that I had last night when my daughter Oakland, my little sweet baby Oakland, made a decision to go sleep in a different room, her sister's room, and it broke my heart. All of that and more on today's episode of GM3X. Welcome to GM3X. I am your host, Glenn Lundy. I am a husband to one, a father to 8, and the founder of the 800% Elite Club. I hope you're ready for motivation, education, inspiration, celebrity interviews, and thought-provoking conversations, because it's 5:30 a.m. and it's time to rise and grind. Hey, good morning. How are you, my friend? Dude, today is Tuesday. That's right. Today is Tuesday, December 6th, 2022. I think the years keep flying by. And what's crazy is today is the very first and the very last time it'll ever be Tuesday, December 6th, 2022. So I want to make sure we make the absolute most, and I do mean the absolute most, of this absolutely incredible day. I must be in the right room. My friend Tara Murney just said she has a weakness for ice cream, which I do too. Thank you for joining me on today's episode of GM3X. I'm coming to you live from Lexington, Kentucky. And what's crazy is it's warmed back up today. It was 20 degrees yesterday, and today we're looking at 59 degrees, and it's supposed to be in the 60s all week long, which is fascinating to me. But I'm very thankful for that. Like right now, I'm wearing my God Did hoodie that I got from Raquel, and I'm actually feeling a little warm. And I don't know about you, but I love heat. I'm a heat guy. If you're a cold person, drop it in the chat. If you're a heat person, look at all the cold people and wonder what the heck is wrong with them. That's what we need to do this morning, right? But I am thankful for the warmth, even though it's a little bit crazy. And it's kind of like a very good symbolic, Jacqueline likes cold. Get out of here. It's symbolic, right? This thing called life, it's so interesting because just like the weather can change from one day to the next, this thing called life can only be lived one day at a time. That's it. It can only be lived one day at a time. Life itself can be long. Life itself is long, but we can only live it one day at a time. And so every decision that is made in that one day ultimately has this infinite ripple effect, right? Like just like yesterday's 20 degree weather had a pattern that ultimately, as it transitioned through and traveled through, led to today's 59 degree weather. Now, I'm no meteorologist, so I don't know what that looks like, but I do know that yesterday's weather ultimately had something to do with today's. And the same is true in our lives. Yesterday's decision will ultimately have some sort of impact on today. It's got an infinite ripple effect, every single decision. Let me give you an example that you can maybe grasp this bigger concept. Let's break this down to the little. Let's talk about ice cream. I love ice cream. I'm just going to put it out there, especially a Blizzard from Dairy Queen. That's my jam, right? Like, I guess that's considered ice cream. I don't know. It's delicious. I typically eat it every Tuesday night after tacos at my mom's house. We go have a blizzard, right? So I love ice cream. But here's the reality of this. Check this out. When we eat ice cream, a portion of that ice cream it stays with us forever. Did you realize that? Like forever. It stays with us forever. I know you're thinking, well, I eat the ice cream and it goes through where it goes and, that's it, right? But no, the reality is a portion of the ice cream, Scott Simons, I think you're an ice cream guy too, a portion of that ice cream will be with you forever, right? Like it says in Sandlot, right? Forever. Now, hear me out on this. You might be like, Glenn, you're crazy. This is crazy talk. It's 5:30 in the morning. I don't know what you're talking about. How can ice cream that I ate when I was 5 years old still be with me today in my 40s and ultimately be with me when I'm in my 90s? Well, check this out, all right? We got to go to the science of this. So everything on Earth outside of energy, Don Sankey said he's made up of 50% ice cream. Everything on Earth outside of energy is made up of atoms. And these atoms, the tiniest thing that exists, that we know exists, right, in life, everything is made of atoms. And these atoms have something called a half-life. Now, most of you, if you're around my age or older, you probably were taught about half-lives in school. Now, I don't know if they still talk about half-life in school or not, but half-life is a method that they use to determine the ultimate age of rocks or other elements that exist in the universe, right? They say, okay, well, how long does it take for half of it to dissolve? And if we can determine how long the half-life is, right, from it to go from 100% to 50%, if we can determine that, then we can ultimately determine the age of an element. Well, ice creams are made up of atoms. Atoms have half-lives. Therefore, the ice cream that you eat has a half-life. There is a certain amount of time before 100% of the ice cream becomes 50%, that 50% becomes 25%, the 25% becomes 12.5%, the 12.5% becomes 6.25%, the 6.25% becomes 3.125 right? And down and down and down and down and down. It keeps cutting in half. However, here's the interesting part. If you cut something in half, and you continue to cut it into half, into half, into half, into half, into half, into smaller and smaller and smaller pieces, there will always be a little tiny sliver left. And that sliver can be cut in half. And there'll be a tiny bit left. And that sliver can be cut in half, but it never actually goes away. It will stay with you forever. And there's really only one exception to this. What's up, Joe Leonard? There's really only one exception to this. The only exception to this is when we sweat. You see, when we sweat, we actually excrete the toxins that exist in our body. So we can now take that ice cream that we ate that has this half-life that continues to exist within our bodies, we can actually excrete it through freaking little microscopic holes on our body, which is crazy, right? So it is possible to sweat it out. But outside of that, every decision made today will play into the end result a year from now, 5 years from now, 50 years from now, 100 years from now. And so follow me here. Where I'm trying to take your brain this morning, and hopefully have successfully done so, is I want you to take that same philosophy. And theoretically, if you knew that every single tiny decision that you make in this 24-hour day is ultimately going to affect the outcome of your life, would you be more conscious of those decisions? My guess is that you would, and that's what we're going to talk about, that and more today. But before we go too far, you know what we got to do on this show. You know what we got to do on this show. Come on now. An object in motion tends to stay in motion. An object at rest tends to stay at rest. So let's get these bodies in motion. Come on now. Let's go. There it is. For those of you that know, those of you that don't know, this is the part of the show where I need you to hit that share button. That's right. I need you to hit that share button because I believe if we can change the way people start their day, it'll make a massive impact on this planet. And sometimes all it takes to change the way somebody starts their day is for you. Yes, you, Dora Maria. Yes, you, Clay Morris. Yes, you, Leisha Watts, to hit that share button. This is also the part of the show, no matter where you are in the world, I need you to do some dancing. If you're across the pond, I need you dancing in the streets. I know it's almost 11 o'clock a.m. over there. I hope the future is bright. I'm sure it is. Let's get moving, shaking. Now listen, you might be on the West Coast. You're like, Glenn, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. So I'm going to tell you to do one of two things. Either go to sleep because you've been up all night, or get on up because you ain't getting nothing done just laying in that bed. Wherever it is, I need you moving. I need you shaking. Let people look at you like you're crazy. It's okay. They're only looking at you like you're crazy because they want what you have. When they see you dancing down the streets in the middle of your run at 6 a.m., they want what you have. They're like, look at that crazy person. Golly, I wish I had that. That's what's happening. When people are looking at attention, they're flowing you that powerful energy. This is also the part of the show where I want to say good morning to you, and I want you to say good morning to me. Whether you're live or you're on replay, say what's up, I'll say what's up back. Good morning, Queen Renee Noor. Thank you for being here. Shantice is in the building. Shantice, I believe I just signed a planner for you yesterday. I've been signing planners the last few days and shipping those out. So if you ordered your Morning 5 planner, watch your mailbox this week. It should be coming in. If you haven't ordered yours yet, go to themorning5planner.com. Barbara Willard, thanks for being here with us this morning. Glad you're here. Tim Hunt is in the building. I was looking forward to hearing from you yesterday, Tim. I know you've got a busy schedule. Scott Marziani, thanks for being in the building. Eileen Mitnick is up in here. Leisha Watts is eating some ice cream already today. Nathaniel Banks, Kim Fair, and Tammy Hicks, thanks for being here. Robin Price in the building. Miss Liza Myers Borges, good morning to you. Gina Duffy, Scott Simons, Tara Murney, and Kim Fair. I see Bella Rigby's up in here. Kevin Fadley in the building. Melvin Rodriguez, West Storm, Rick Tamburino. My boy Stephen Eugene Kuhn is in the building. I see Liddy, I see William, I see Chris Cynthia. Thanks for being here today. What's up, Peter? My man Peter's up in the building. Tori and Miranda, Bettina and Ben. Is that Ben St. Hours? Put your shirt on. Golly, Ben, you're always embarrassing me with that. Looking good, man. Nisa's in the building. Tarika and Russell. Jesse Reel's in the building. Christine and Sheila and Allison and Luis. I see Tanya and Eli and Sol and Ade. I see Frank and Tony. I see Chia and Mignon. What's up, Raquel? Great to see you this morning. Stoshala is in the building. Gloria, Eugenia, Angela Love, West Storm, Rick Tamburino, Gene Stafford, Paris, Brenda. I'm glad you're here. Barbara Ann Willard. Did I already say your name? I think I did. Larry Mullenix, Kyle Frederick. My boy Don Sankey in the building. You guys, thank you so much for joining me right here on GM3X. I greatly appreciate you. You're an amazing superhuman. Excited to run with you, and I'm super excited to run with you in 2023. For those of you that have already ordered your planners, 2023 is going to be a big year. We're going to spend every single day together on the same page, reading quotes from our peers, connecting through the QR code, reading books together, doing challenges together. It's going to be amazing. If you haven't ordered yours yet, head on over to morning5.com. I'm telling you, if you can change the way you start your day, it'll make a massive impact in your life. your host, Glenn Lundy.
Hey guys, hey guys, welcome to another TikTok Tuesday on GM3X. Guess what, guys? Do you hear it? Oh yeah, I hear it. It's December, which means Christmas is here, which means...
Okay, people, tomorrow morning, 10 a.m., Santa's coming to town.
Santa! Oh my God! Hey, get out of here!
Messes with Santa.
One thing I learned from kids' movies growing up, kids always win, especially during the holidays. Take care, guys. I'll see you next week. Peace!
So life is like really long. It is. Life is really long. Like 42,048,000 minutes roughly on average in this life. That comes out to roughly 78 years is the average life expectancy as of right now in 2020. However, they're saying that number will be like 120 years here in the next 30 years. By 2050, by the time I'm 75, they're saying life expectancy is going to be 120 years. So life in reality is really long. And then when you factor in the fact that we'll be here for eternity, no, it's really long. If you believe that we are spiritual in nature, but even though it's really long, it can feel short, right? Like, for example, yesterday, Oakland, my little sweet Oakland, this is my girl right here. Yesterday, Oakland, so we added another bedroom to our house. We have a very big house, but it's sometimes difficult to find rooms for 9 people. And so we had to add another bedroom to the house, which caused a little shift and a little rearranging. And as part of that rearranging, little Miss Oakland and Caroline, ultimately at some point, Caroline's our 2-year-old, are going to be sharing a room. And so last night, Oakland wanted to practice being in her new little room. Now, she doesn't sleep with us every night. She typically sleeps with her older sister, Savannah. But this time she was sleeping in there with Meredith. And for some reason, it just hit me last night. I was just like, golly, man. Like, she's my girl, right? Her and I are quantumly entangled. Like, and here she is. She's getting older so quickly. You know, she's 4 years old now. I'm like, golly, where did it go? And so life is ultimately long. And I will say this, by the way, in the middle of the night, she came back. And I was happy. I was like sad that she went to the thing. And in the middle of the night, she said, Daddy, I'm scared. I said, get in here, girl. And she snuggled with me all night. So I'm happy with that. But this thing called life is long, but yet it can feel really short. And so we have to make a lot of decisions today because it feels short. We have to make a lot of decisions today that affect today without giving much thought to the 90-year-old man or woman that exists inside of us, right? Like when we make a decision today to eat a burger, when we make a decision today to work out or not work out, when we make a decision today to have a conversation, when we make a decision today to fire someone, to hire someone, when all the decisions that we make today, they're going to be thought about with the timeline of today and maybe extended out just a little bit further. But my belief is that very rarely in the day are we really thinking about how this decision affects the 90-year-old man or woman that exists inside of us. And this is an important question. Because, see, the 90-year-old man or woman that exists inside of each and every one of us has no say in what his or her life looks like up till that point. Now, they can still change it. 90 years old isn't the end. At 90 years old, you can make decisions to ultimately change the course and the direction of your life. You can totally do that. It's just more of an uphill battle. You see, the 90-year-old that exists inside of you is ultimately stuck with the decisions the now you is making. And so how do you feel about that? Like, do you trust you today to set up the you of tomorrow? Now, if the answer to that question is yes, then keep going. Keep doing exactly what you are doing. Keep getting up early. Keep doing the morning 5. Keep having the conversations. Keep eating what you're eating. Keep saving the way you save. Keep spending the way you spend. Like every decision you make in the day, if you believe that that is setting up the future you to where you're going to look back and go, thank you, 45-year-old, for the decisions you made on Tuesday, December 6, 2022, then keep growing, like for real. But if the answer is no, if you're like me and you're going, I don't know, man. I don't know if the care of the 90-year-old me should be in this guy's hands. If the answer is no, then I'm going to challenge you and I to stretch time. To start to stretch time, and let's start stretching that time today. Check this out.
Big idea I want to talk about is something he calls the magic penny. In the book, Darren Hardy explains the idea of compound interest using the magic penny idea. The basic idea is that when looking at these two options, which one looks more attractive? $3 million right now, or a penny that doubles in value every day for 31 days? You might have heard this before, and if you haven't, you probably would have picked the $3 million just because you don't know the power of compounding interest. After 31 days, the penny choice is now worth $5.3 million, almost double the first option. We can compare compare this growth to ourselves. For example, let's say you eat a small chocolate bar every morning for around 3 years. If the chocolate bar is around 125 calories and you do nothing extra to your diet or your exercise program, you would gain an extra 39 pounds in those 3 years, because 125 calories times 365 days times 3 years, and then you take that and you divide it by 3,500 calories per pound, you get 39 pounds. Now it's really crazy to think about it, but this principle is at play in every minute of our lives. Imagine if you read a small 10 pages a day for 3 years. What would that be? That's around 43 books in 3 years by only reading 10 pages a day, and that is life-changing. In fact, some experts say that the minimum amount of books to read to become more knowledgeable on a topic more than 90% of the general public is just 4 books. After reading 43 books, you'll be ranking with the experts in less than 3 years. Now the problem though is that because it's easy to do, it means it's also easy not to do, right? So the next big idea I want to talk about is about owning 100%. Now this is kind of a paradox. Since these small daily choices are easy to do, they're also easy to skip. Hey, I'll read 10 pages tonight. I'll work out tomorrow morning and burn off this donut. I'll get that project done next week. We say stuff like this all the time. Our brain overestimates how long small tasks will take, and because of this, we will procrastinate and put it off. Darren, the author, says we're all self-made men and women, but only the successful people take credit for it. If you're dead broke with no friends, it takes a lot of character to say, I'm here because of my choices and the decisions that I've made up to this point. Well, when you have the humility to actually admit that and say, since I've got here, I can get myself out of this hole, then you can start to get back on the right track that you were aiming for. Once you own 100% of your responsibility and your situation, you can start to understand that you have more control of your life than you actually think, and your decisions will matter more to you. So big idea number 2 is to own 100%. Big idea number 3 is small choices. Once you have accepted that your life is 100% your responsibility, you can start to commit to small, easy choices. Now I'm talking about stuff like, I'm gonna save $120 every month until the end of the year. I'm gonna have dinner with my father once a month. I'm gonna go to the gym twice a week for a month. These small choices really help. $120 every month for 20 years with an average interest rate compounds to over $50,000. And also, imagine how many more memories you'll have with your family members and the loved ones if you commit to seeing them at least once a month. For a lot of people, it's just around the holidays. And also imagine how much longer you will statistically be able to live if you go to the gym twice a week opposed to never. The next big idea I want to talk about is about the law of attraction and how it really works. Now in the self-development niche, I get asked all the time about my own personal opinion of the law of attraction, and most people understand it. It's kind of like, if I sit here and think about it all the time, then I'll get it. Like if I sit on the couch and think about $1 million, then I'll get $1 million. I'll win the lottery or something. Well, that's not true. It's not how it works. So your brain is a highly sophisticated organ that consumes billions of sensory data groups every day. And to prevent it from going insane and to make your life easier to live, it forgets a very large amount of all of that information. However, your brain will pick up on relevant things. So if you've been thinking about getting a new job, it'll pick out information that it thinks is relevant to getting a new job. For example, you might see an advertisement for a job recruitment that you would have otherwise ignored, but your brain picked it out and made you look at it. Have you ever learned a new word and you hear it 4 or 5 times the next week, even though you've never heard that word before? This is the reason why. If you want to put the law of attraction to work, or rather your brain to work for you, fill it with things that you want more of in your life. Make sure that if you're trying to lose weight, you write down your goals. You start listening to people who talk about how to lose weight, and you read books around the same topic. And because of this new information, your brain will remind you next time you're about to habitually eat some candy. So the law of attraction is just a little trick to help your brain make living your life and getting to your goals easier. It's not some magic thing that you can sit in your house and wish up something. You have to go and put in the work, but the law of attraction makes the work more important. The last idea is garbage in, garbage out. Another huge idea I found in this book, which actually takes up a couple of pages, is something called garbage in, garbage out. And it basically means if you're consuming negative information, you're eating low quality food, and you're hanging around toxic people, your life quality is going to suffer. It just makes sense. Instead, pick carefully what kind of information that you consume daily. Cut back time with those toxic friends and educate yourself about your diets, your macronutrients, and food quality. Remember that the compound effect will magnify what you consume over time. So 30 minutes of dramatic news each night will drastically change your thoughts, but so will 30 minutes of reading a new book. So the big idea here is to choose carefully. Also, again, you can check the description links below for a free actionable summary and also a list of my top 10 books. You just go to that page, enter your email.
So these are all concepts from the book, The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. We're going to be diving into that book in depth next year in 2023. It's one of our books of the month. But ultimately, the concept, the idea is to stretch your thinking of time and the decisions that you're making now, and ultimately the long term, to use an even bigger word, infinite effect of those decisions. Life feels short, so we make decisions in the day. Life is long, ultimately eternal. So it's important that you and I start understanding and focusing on the consequences, results, and potential harvests from the decisions that we make today, so we can set ourselves up for tomorrow. You see, you and I are children of God, the God of the universe, right? The God that made everything. And that God made you and I to become the best versions of ourselves that we can possibly be. And he set us up in this particular time construct. This time construct with a rising sun in the west and a setting sun in the east. And we use the light and the dark to ultimately gauge and evaluate our progression through eternal life. And so as the sun rises this morning, which it hasn't done yet here where I am, it will an hour and a half from now. As the sun rises each day, my hope is that it'll trigger you and I to make decisions that the 90-year-old man and woman that exists inside of us will be thankful for. And to stretch that time out, to focus on long-term potential so that we can become just that, the best versions of ourselves that we can possibly be. Does that sound fair? Ladies and gentlemen, I love you. I do. If nobody's told you yet today, I want to be the first. I absolutely stinking love you. Thank you so much for being here with me this morning. I am going to head over to Clubhouse so that we can discuss this a little bit more. If you're watching live, you're welcome to come join us over there. If you're watching on replay, we are in the Clubhouse from 5 in the morning Eastern till 1 o'clock in the afternoon Eastern, bringing motivation, education, inspiration, celebrity interviews, and thought-provoking conversations. So you can always join us there. If it's outside those hours, come back here again tomorrow morning, 5:30 a.m. We'll do this all over again on GM3X. Have an incredible day, my friends.
So far away, I saw you not so long ago. Was it just yesterday? Got that old feeling that I know. In the dark of the night, I'll be alright. The sun will arise. Of messages overtaking what I know. A war is a whisper was searching for someone to fight for me, I'll remember it's your light that shines on me. I won't be afraid, I will look to the light. I will not be shaken, I know it will be alright. 'Cause you're with me, I know that the sun will rise.